Everyone's got a vice. For some people, it's drinking or drugs, maybe porn addiction, or maybe you've contaminated your soul with Overwatch and continue to play that piece of shit. For me, my vice is something far more sinister and something far harder to quit. I'm talking about card collecting. You don't have to be a certified psychiatrist to notice that I've been pretty into the old shiny cardboard these days. I've been having a lot of fun opening card boxes recently, and it's not a mental illness. I can stop whenever I want to. I simply choose to continue to open them. I'm not addicted, I'm simply committed. It's not an addiction, I just can't live without them, is all. And of course, I never encourage just simply tossing around the A word, the old A slur. I would say it is definitely not an addiction. If anything, it's the cards that are addicted to me. Now, what I'm trying to say here is I've got a lot of fucking cards over the course of the last 4 or 5 months of opening these boxes on stream. And I genuinely mean like a fucking ton of cards. In my house right now, I easily have 100,000 cards, and a lot of those are really rare, valuable cards, but I only really care to have one of each of these cards. So all of the extras that I have of them are really not doing anything and just sitting in my closet. And I know for a lot of people that want to get into collecting, it's super fucking expensive. Like if your best friend is addicted to heroin, the best thing you can do for him is get him into collecting Pokemon cards and he'll never be able to afford heroin again. The price on cards is absurd and the odds that you pull good shit is super slim. And for me, that's fine because for me, the fun is just opening it on stream and just having some fun with the chat. But for people that actually want to like get into collecting or even like making decks and competing in the card games, it's really a big fucking money drain. And since I have so many cards and a lot of them are cards that are used competitively for like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or for collectors, it's a lot of really like sought after cards. And I have a lot of duplicates. I thought it'd be fun to put these cards in packs of my own for a much cheaper price. So, like for example, I have so fucking many copies of pretty much every single unlimited base set holo, and these cards are all so fucking expensive. Like this Charizard right here, and it's not in the best condition. This is definitely not a PSA 10. This thing looks like it was used to wipe someone's ass at some point. Even in the worst condition, this card is still selling for hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars on eBay. And the only way to get access to some of these cards is by paying that kind of crazy price or getting the booster box they come in, which is like $40,000. And I don't think that's right. I think everyone should have a chance at these kind of crazy fucking cards for a much more accessible price. And that way everyone can have in the fun without having to like spend their entire fucking life savings to get a box of Pokemon cards. So like all of these cards are going to be in the packs like Blaine's Charizard, all the unlimited base holos, unlimited jungles, unlimited fossil, and pretty much just my entire collection. Because like I said, I really only want one of each of these cards. So that does also include my entire first edition collection. So all of my first edition commons, first edition rares, and first edition holos that I have multiple of are going to be in the packs. And even the first edition commons are going for like $40 in the worst condition. That's absurd. I think that is still way too fucking high for some fucking old school commons. I think it's ridiculous. So I just thought it'd be fun to make these packs, and here's a video of some of the stuff that you can find in them with like some full arts that I've had for a while from like 2012 to 2016, the unlimited holos, the jungle holos, fossil. You can see my stacks of first edition rares from Team Rocket, Gym Challenge, and all of that shit. All of them are going to be going in there, including the Dark Dragonites, the Dark Charizards, Dark Blastoise. It's all going to be in there. And like I said, the main reason I'm doing this is because I think these kind of cards should be accessible to the majority of people. It's just fucking cardboard at the end of the day, and I think it is a lot of fun to have that piece of nostalgia, but it shouldn't come at such a crazy fucking cost where you stop buying food for a week in order to afford one more Pokemon box or some crazy shit. So the packs are called Divine Packs, and I'll put a link to the website in the description box. It's divinepacks.com. Each pack is $25, and in every pack you are going to be getting holos or a full art or super rare or something that makes it special. A first edition, it's something there that's not just going to be a bunch of dog shit. There's going to be 8 cards in every pack. In every pack there's going to be a signed card from me. Not that I think my signature has any inherent value to it, but I just thought it was a cute way of saying thank you for buying the packs, and hopefully you like what you get inside of them. And also we even made some custom cards that we only have one set printed right now, which is the Machine King. And I think it's really fucking cool. This is from the Skynet music video. And we have other cards that we're working on printing now, but they just weren't ready. And I thought this would be a cool Christmas gift. So the 3 other cards we're currently printing but aren't ready yet are the District 8 Savior card, which is of course a reference to the character I play in the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, a crucial role that really held the Hunger Games together. And I thought this was a wonderful card to honor the sacrifice my character made in the franchise, and the art is done by a very talented man named Matty Carp Art. The Energy Harvest card, which is again from the Skynet universe, where I am having my semen extracted by a machine to power other machines. This is from the extremely talented Alex from Sikowski Studios. And then the Officer Greg card, which is of course a reference to the upcoming role I have in the horror film Last of the Grads, where I play Officer fucking Greg, baby. This art comes from the very talented artist on Instagram named Jason Z Art. And these are great cards and would definitely love to get them made if you guys do enjoy the packs. Would definitely like to do this again and have those in the run. Now, I did want to get this out before Christmas because I thought it could make a really cute gift. During one of my streams a while ago, someone asked me if I could get Riley Reid to come on the podcast, to talk about wieners, vaginas, pussies, and RuneScape, just the normal type of porn talk on the podcast. And I responded saying I don't think Riley Reid would ever want to do that because she doesn't like me, personally. And that led to me telling the story of the beef between Riley Reid and myself. Beef being the wrong word, but for lack of a better term, the bad blood between us. Although this was a while ago, so I'm sure she probably doesn't remember or just doesn't care anymore. But now, ever since I told that story on a stream, people are constantly asking me during streams to tell the story again. And it's kind of cute, kind of like, a kid asking their grandfather who fought in Vietnam to tell them war stories that they've heard a million times from him, except in my case, the only war I fought was on the shores of Riley Reid's butthole. So I figured I'd make a video dedicated to telling the story. So it all started when I made a video about Riley Reid's abominable rap, which remains today one of the worst raps I've ever heard. Now there's definitely a lot worse raps on YouTube from small channels with like 30 views, maybe from like Old Pop Hickey Yokel's barnyard rap ballad about cunnilingus on his animals and making love to his sister, or maybe a chemistry professor's educational rap that's just fucking horrible. But those aren't fully produced raps. Those are all very amateur attempts at it, so I don't really count those as actual raps. Riley Reid had a team behind her and fully produced, so it was a genuine attempt at it, and it was fucking horrible. The worst I'd heard in that department. So I stand by that. I stand by that analysis. On the moist meter, that'd be a 5%. Now, when I published the video, I was made aware she wasn't too happy with my critique of her song here. And I can understand why, because it's clear she put a lot of heart and soul in that. There was inspired lyrics in there, such as, "Spit stringing from my mouth, let you fuck my face, good nutritious nut." And who could forget when she really takes it home with, "Jerk it out, jerk it out, jerk it out, beat it out, beat it out, beat it out, jerk it out, jerk it out, beat it out, jerk it out." So I can understand when I insulted her magnum opus of music that she wasn't too happy with that. And that's when it really started, when I made that video. So she didn't like that I made that, she didn't like me, and then about 2 or 3 months after that, I went on her Twitter page, just browsing and perusing, learning more than anything. Well, honestly, I was just looking for titties, for lack of a better cover story. I went through a lot of different porn stars' pages just to see what productions they were taking part in, really. But while on Riley Reid's, I noticed she had retweeted some fan art. And let me tell you what, that fan art, bingo, bango, bongo, that's the epitome of fan art right there. What it was a crayon drawing of Riley Reid spreading her ass cheeks apart and just having her brown balloon nut winking at the camera. It was fucking beautiful. And I saw this, and I made a tweet about it. It was a very vague tweet. I didn't say what porn star. All I said was, haha, I just saw, porn star's fan art with her gaping asshole in crayon. It was great. And then I guess people found it and told the artist that I said that. And then the artist called me an asshole, and then Riley Reid retweeted that saying I'm an asshole, so then they were just double teaming me. And, it all stemmed because, come on, it's a crayon drawing of a porn star's asshole. How's that not entertaining? I don't want to show the fan art, but instead I took it upon myself to try and do it. Neither one of them really capture it. This was my first attempt. It doesn't really convey what it looked like. This looks more like a God of War enemy. So then I tried again. And this one just kind of looks like a Wallace and Gromit character doing some naughty shit. This isn't what the fan art looked like. It definitely looked a lot better than this. And I went on the artist's page, and she's talented. But this particular piece, I had a giggle about. Come on. You got a porn star spreading her fucking chocolate starfish, and you're doing it in crayon? That's great. That's gonna put a smile on anyone's face. And to be totally honest, as far as crayon drawings of porn stars spreading their fudge cutters go, this is probably the best it can ever get. It was really well done. I could see where the asshole was. I could see the butthole clearly. There was even some labia draping down like some beef curtains. And the pose was really well conveyed. Like you could see the stretching of the ass cheeks, pulling it apart and seeing what's between them. It was really well done. It had a side by side so you could see what the pose was not in crayon and then in crayon. Really well translated. But I honestly don't know why they both got so offended about me making it a joke. I thought the piece was done lightheartedly as just kind of like, hey, look at this little doodle I did. You remember when you did that photo shoot where you spread your butthole wide? Well, here it is in crayon. Oh, that's cool. Retweet. I didn't know it was going to be a hill you want to die on defending it as some type of artistic masterpiece or anything. Like if someone out there wanted to make a fan art of me with my legs over my head and soft dick slapping me in the face and they did it out of Sharpie or Legos or pipe cleaner or something, I'd be like, haha, that's entertaining, that's cool. And then if people start turning into a joke, you know, I don't think they'd turn to me and be like, defend this. I'd be like, well, at the end of the day, that's my soft cock slapping me in my face out of some goofy material, you know what I mean? That's probably worth making a joke out of. But, you know, anyway, that's why Riley Reid doesn't like me and probably will never come on the podcast. If I'm wrong, Riley, and you do want to come on the podcast, just go ahead and reach out to me on Twitter. But yep, there's the story, and that's it. Most YouTubers are absolutely shameless when it comes to getting views on the platform. They would golden shower their mothers while their father films for their vlog series if it meant a couple 100,000 views. But none are more shameless or just downright batshit insane than Prank Invasion. There's nothing more I can say about Prank Invasion that hasn't been said about your creepy uncle or the pedophile gym teacher you had growing up. This man is a downright fiend. Look at that face. Just look at that face. That's the face of a cool guy that tongue fucks his sister with no shame. Just look at how satisfied he is with himself. So this guy's real name is Chris, and he seems to like to fuck his sister, so I'm guessing his last name is Lannister. And as you can see, nothing is off limits when it comes to getting YouTube views. Now, it's debated if this is real or not since all of his shit's fake, but this one has some, like, proof that it's his real sister, kind of. I don't really care. It's a weird clickbait anyway to really bank on the incest community. There's a cardinal rule when it comes to incest porn. It's not incest porn if the sound's off, then it's just porn. And I think that's what Chris is kind of banking on. I really don't know. The man's a fucking delusional madman. But what I want to really talk about is his behavior on Twitter. This guy is absolutely fucking pathetic. So it all started a couple days ago with this tweet targeting Ethan, because Ethan's made a lot of videos about him insulting his shit, and I guess on this day something just snapped in him like the fucking Winter Soldier, and he called Ethan out to a boxing match, which was declined, so then he went to a chess match, which is quite a big jump from boxing to chess. You might as well have just challenged him to a great tea party. Not exactly the most stunning or brave of tweets or anything like this, but it got kind of big because Ethan responded to it and then I saw it. So I went to his Twitter and his fucking bio says professional fighter 8-0. I don't know if I believe this. I'm guessing he's beating his opponents by making out with them until they get too erect and ejaculate and just collapse from exhaustion. I don't know what his strategy is because this doesn't seem like a fighter. This is definitely more of a lover. This man's like a fucking vampire of lips. This man needs them to survive. He's always sloppily kissing an actress he's paid. So I'm guessing he's transferred that strategy to the octagon. I don't know. I haven't checked out any of his fights on Pornhub yet. So when I saw this, it piqued my interest, and I kind of kept up with the Twitter drama, and it really was revealed how pathetic and sad this man is. A response from Chaos Silencer, you need to go to college to be smart, and then Chris responds, reread my statement. Your reply is a logical fail. I would know because I scored a 174 on the LSAT, which got me into Northwestern Law after graduating with top honors from UC Berkeley. BTW, the LSAT is an exam in logic. This shit is like straight off of a copy pasta. I wish he had continued. I was expecting another tweet like an hour later. Oh, and also I graduated top of astronaut camp with over a 5,000 parameter index interstellar point score, which has never been done. That blew Neil Armstrong's scores out of the water by over 4,000 points. I am quite literally out of this world. You are beneath me. I was expecting more from Chris. If he was going to go on this copy pasta route, I wish he had committed a bit harder. When I saw this response, I couldn't help but retweet with comment, which isn't something I usually do. So I said, you fucking idiots don't even realize he also graduated at the top of the Navy SEALs with over 500 confirmed kills. Even more impressive, he's made out with his sister over 1,000 times. No, you know, not the biggest zinger I've ever had, no doubt, but I thought it was enough to at least get a response from Chris, which it didn't. Chris is obviously very careful with the fights he chooses, which is why he's 8-0 against the middle school marching band that he's brutalizing. So he didn't respond to me, but he did go on even further into his delusions. He made 2 tweets making it an open challenge to anyone in a chess tournament for $100,000, but no one cares about him, so no one responded to it. I think his attempt was to get more people talking about him, but it didn't work because nobody cares about Chris, except for Ethan to make a couple jokes because Chris is just a punching bag. And then when it seemed like he wasn't getting anything more out of the exchanges, he made this tweet, and this is why I think he's probably the saddest man on YouTube. You see that magic? This brand deal wanted to pay me $25,000, but they said my Twitter impressions were low compared to YouTube and Instagram. Boom! I engineered this and played you for fools. Daddy's got his check now. No, you don't, Chris. How does that make any sense to anyone that's not 5 years old? Man, we'd really like to give you $25,000 for nothing, but your Twitter impressions are low, and they're super low, Chris. You get like 9 likes a tweet. Better luck next time, Chris. Pump up those rookie numbers, pussy boy. How does that make any sense? What kind of brand goes to Chris offering $25,000, but his impressions were low, so they take it away? He didn't even do a brand deal. He didn't do anything. Why did they give him $25,000 if he didn't promote a brand? Are they just giving $25,000 to anyone that can get 500 retweets? That's fucking silly. It obviously didn't happen, Chris. No one believes that happened. And he goes on further into his ruse, his pathetic shell. He says, "Thanks, invaders. My brand deal confirmed a nice bonus due to these awesome Twitter stats, and I've never even promoted my Twitter from YouTube once." Then he shows the 2.5 million impressions. Chris, why the fuck would someone give you $25,000 if you didn't even promote their brand? That's not a brand deal, you goddamn Cro-Magnon fucking troglodyte idiot. That no one believes this, because it didn't happen. Plus at 2.5 million impressions, who is going to give you $25,000? That's low on the internet in this modern day standards. This didn't happen. You're just looking for any excuse for your lunacy, for your fucking senile actions over the day, but you were too proud to remove the tweets because you're a fucking idiot. This is the saddest shit I think I've seen from a pathetic YouTuber, and there's so many pathetic YouTubers, but this really took the cake because it's so blatantly obvious that he's just making this shit up as he's tearing up behind his keyboard. And what kind of fucking brand would even work with Chris? Someone peddling incest porn out of the back of a garbage truck? What kind of brand would want to work with a guy whose videos are making out with his sister for views? That didn't happen. You're not getting paid for shit. Maybe you're getting ad revenue from the video. I could believe that. But I don't think Gillette's coming to you for the best a man can get, fucking his sister. I don't think that's happening. And certainly not at $25,000 for starting Twitter drama. Just absolutely ridiculous. I wanted to just make something about this because this is the saddest shit I've seen from a YouTuber. And a lot of YouTubers do some pathetic sad shit, but this took the cake. I wanted to make this earlier, but I decided let's let it sit for a little bit and see if Chris has any more tricks up his sleeve, any more big brand deals in the making. But unfortunately, he has not delivered. I can't wait for Chris's next video where he butt fucks his sister for views. I'm looking forward to it, Chris. Keep up the great work, man. Keep crying on Twitter. Fuck yeah, man. See ya. Why do good girls like bad guys? Why do Twitch streamers like to take a shit and ruin their entire career in an instant? I don't have the answers to these questions. I'm not Socrates. All I know is a Twitch streamer yesterday by the name of Carl burned down his entire career in a matter of seconds. And I know hearing streaming and career in the same sentence is vomit-inducing to some. Makes you want to just spit. Gross. I understand because as far as careers go, streaming's one of the easier ones, also one of the safest from coronavirus. Wouldn't be surprised if the WHO starts recommending everyone stops going outside and just streaming League of Legends. But anyway, I get why some people are a bit repulsed by the idea of streaming being a career, but it's time to get with reality it is. And to a lot of people it's their entire lives, as it was for Carl. And yesterday, in just one brief split second, it all vanished, like the world's saddest magic trick. Let me show you the clip. What's commonly known as a negligent discharge of a firearm, or as we call it on the internet, a big fucking oopsie. Carl just executed a tub of G Fuel live on stream. I get not liking some of the flavors, but to just put it down like the fucking Punisher here is pretty hardcore. You're also probably wondering why he has his grandmother's slipper on his desk. It's because he was doing shoeies, so he was a bit drunk at the time. For anyone that doesn't know what a shoey is, you're too young to be around these parts, but I'll tell you anyway. It's when you pour the alcohol in a shoe and you drink it. It's pretty easy to comprehend, and it's pretty disgusting. It tastes like you're drinking beer out of a septic tank. It'd be better just to drink the beer out of your car's exhaust, at least then it wouldn't taste as fucking gross. But anyway, he was a bit inebriated, and he had his gun on standby just in case some rogue gamer assassins came to steal his V-Bucks, and unfortunately, the man prematurely ejaculated here and did a bit of a desk pop. It just absolutely blasted around through both his tub of G Fuel and a monitor, and luckily no one was hurt. It didn't go through the next room and take out anyone or anything like that, which is lucky, and he didn't kill himself with it, which is also lucky. So it definitely could have been a lot worse, but I do think this is a really good advertisement for whatever fucking microphone he's using, because that shit didn't even clip. It wasn't ear rapey, it was totally normalized. This man just blasted a gun in a very closed environment, and I could barely even hear it. It was barely even louder than his voice. That's shocking. Sometimes when I'm streaming at twitch.tv/moistcritical, I'll casually burp and it sounds like 3 frag grenades going off into the ears of anyone with headphones on. So I don't know what he's using, but this has actually convinced me that I probably need to pick that shit up. Another thing I'd like to point out is I think this actually serves as a really interesting case study into the mind of a Twitch streamer/YouTuber, because after this mistake he immediately gets into YouTube thumbnail position with the classic shock-faced Ali A style, some of these, and then bubble text over it, "This happened? How?" And then the circle with the arrow pointing at it, at the gun while it's shooting, fucking blasting his coffee can and G Fuel shit. So I think that's really impressive, that speed, to go from just ruin my career to, well, let's profit off that. Right into the thumbnail. So hats off to him for that quick turnaround time, but goddamn, it actually did cost him everything. I'm not exaggerating. He got banned on Twitch, as you'd expect, for, shooting a goddamn gun on it, and you can't even think about titties or ass on Twitch without getting banned, and this guy just fired a fucking gun live on stream, putting down a tub of G Fuel, which is a sin in and of itself. You knew he was getting banned there. He speed ran that. But he also got dropped from his professional gaming organization, SOAR. SOAR dropped him in a matter of hours. It was as if he shot that gun and it traveled through the wall and hit the CEO. Their response time to that was crazy. They dropped him like a fucking potato immediately. Potato sack the poor guy. Now, in response to all this, he accepted all responsibility, made an apology video on Twitter, which I have nothing against. It seemed like he understood the repercussions and he believed he deserved them, and he's going to try to work on his firearm usage, I suppose. I don't know. Pretty much everything you could do wrong with a firearm, he did wrong. He did everything shy of pointing the gun at his own face to check if there was a bullet in it, so he really probably should get some tutoring there. Check out a YouTuber Reddit professional, perhaps, to give him some advice. But really, his apology video is pretty sound. I don't want to put the tinfoil condom on or anything, but how many of us think this could have been premeditated for publicity, huh? I mean, I kind of see it in his eyes. Like, why would he have his gun on his desk, right? Like, I just saw John Wick. I'm going to let some lead fly tonight, get some people pretty energized. But then, damn, blasted my own G Fuel can. It's possible. Unlikely, but I've seen a little speculation. I've also seen a lot of people talking about the punishment being too harsh, considering no one was injured. But I think it's a great lesson to everyone out there not to play with firearms while doing shoeies. Yeah, maybe your parents did it and they're okay, but that doesn't mean you'll be as lucky. All in all, I have to say I really am wishing Carl the best moving forward. This was a mistake that cost him greatly. And I hope it's something he can bounce back from, because I do appreciate the way he handled the consequences. He really manned up, took the cock on the chin and said, you know what, I fucked up and I'm going to be better. And I believe he probably will be. So good luck to Carl moving forward, and let this be a very powerful lesson to everyone out there that guns are not a toy to fuck around with, especially not when you've been taking shoeies to the mouth for an hour. That's about it. If I was to ask you what the most corrupt and most cartoonishly evil industry is in America, there's only one right answer. That is the music industry. Even not talking about the blatant abuse artists face in the industry, as well as shady business practices and the constant exploitation of their artists, they are the only industry I can think of that constantly attacks the public directly. They're less of a music industry and more of a private military group that also owns music. They're doing everything they can to wage war on the public. Over the last 20 years, they've come up with some of the most barbaric, archaic, and just brutally out of touch and dangerous laws to try and protect their copyrighted dog shit. And just this week, they've come up with a new wacky little humdinger where their political puppet, Tom Tillis, is trying to pass a law that he snuck into a bigger bill that would state a DMCA strike could carry jail time and a felony charge. So Twitch streamers, YouTube, Instagram, and probably TikTok, I would imagine it'll eventually extend to, if you played copyrighted material, even snippets, and by accident, you run the risk of a felony charge and potential jail time for it. Now, Tom Tillis is a U.S. political senator who is in the pocket of the music industry. I checked out his donor list, and he's actually a really cheap prostitute. Like, this guy is giving away his services for fucking cheap. This man's selling his soul for popsicle sticks. He's getting $2,000 from some of these musical organizations, but of course, Tom Tillis, being the human hemorrhoid that he is, who probably fishes for used needles out of the dumpster, he's also getting money off the books, I would imagine. But on the books, he's getting $2,000 from some of these musical organizations. In total, he's gotten about $100,000 from the entire music industry on the books. Tom, if that's the price of your soul, I will form a PAC with a few of my friends and we will beat that price. If it's $100,000 to make you be our little marionette on the strings, we can negotiate and give you a better price for your services. So just hit me up, Tom, because we can beat that price and then you can dance for us. But until then, Tom Tillis has tried to sneak this law in here, and you can read the whole law that states DMCA strikes can carry a felony charge and jail time. And again, even if it's a total accident, it doesn't even state how much of it needs to be broadcast or anything. It's just the fact that if copyright material shows up on your stream or a content creator's content, you could face a felony or jail time. Currently, a DMCA strike at absolute worst is a misdemeanor, but that's not severe enough for the music industry. What they'd like is to take anyone that infringes on their copyright and execute them, make it a capital offense, put them in front of a fucking firing squad. They probably wouldn't care if you were 6 years old. If you heard a song that you didn't pay for, or even worse, accidentally had it playing in the background of a video, they'd probably just beat you to death with a baseball bat if it was up to the music industry. But up until now, the music industry couldn't fully fuck people in the mouth, so they turned to that annoying little pinworm in their asshole, Tom Tillis. Tom Tillis, being the little pinworm that's swimming in their colon hoping to catch some of the money that they shit out, decides to try and sneak this into this upcoming bill, and it's getting voted on in 2 days. So this is actually urgent. I didn't realize how urgent it was. I really figured that this would wither and die at some point in the pipeline, but they're trying their absolute best to just like smack this bad boy on the ass right through the Congress as quickly as possible. A YouTuber named CharmX made me aware of just how soon it is coming up. I hate asking for trending hashtags, but at this point I don't know what other options we have since it's coming up so close and they're really trying to fucking speedrun corruption here with this bill. So I'd say start making a noise using hashtag StopDMCA. It's something quick and it's something simple to the point. Hopefully, if we can make enough noise with that trending hashtag StopDMCA, we can at least make people more aware of what's going on, and hopefully at some point someone sees that and it's like, holy shit, this is actually in this law. Man, we usually just close our eyes and say yes to whatever comes on the table. Wait, well, let's take a look at this one. This is bad. It's wishful thinking and a bit naive, but with so little time to actually do something about it, since they're just pushing this shit through at light speed, it's the only option I think that's available. So feel free to use hashtag StopDMCA if you want to have your voice hopefully be heard and hopefully change this ridiculous idea here. Now, at first I wasn't as concerned about it. I kind of laughed at the law because I just didn't think it was possible to pass. But since it does seem like it's going in that direction, I watched a lawyer on YouTube talk about it, thinking like, okay, maybe I misunderstood. Maybe it's actually not as bad as everyone's making it seem. Even after reading it, I didn't really see any way that it wasn't as bad as everyone made it seem, but I'm not a lawyer. So I listened to this video from a guy who is a lawyer, and he talks about it and how concerned he is about the law and how mad he is about it. So it really is as bad as people have hyped it up to be, but for some reason this one's not talked about that much, even though this is like the most devastating one. This would quite literally kill Twitch in particular. For example, Cyberpunk 2077, even when you turn off the copyrighted music function, which is still insane that we're at this point in time where you just have to disable music when you stream in video games, but even when you turn that feature off, there are still a few songs in the game that are possible DMCA strikes on your channel. So even if you take every possible precaution when playing just a video game, you can still be hit with a DMCA strike, which, going into 2021, if this gets passed, could land you in jail. You could go to jail for playing Cyberpunk 2077 even on the streamer mode with copyrighted music turned off just because of an oversight where a few songs are still DMCA-able. That is absolutely scary. That's terrifying. And again, I can't even believe we're at this point where if you're playing something, you have to turn off music for it. Fucking crazy. So I urge any of you that watch internet content, or God forbid make it at this point, to take this seriously. The reason why I'm talking about it so late is because I figured at some point down the pipeline common sense would kick in and realize this is an unenforceable law and would lead to millions of people in jail. Donald fucking Trump had a DMCA strike on the official White House channel. Is there statute of limitations on this? Because wouldn't he also be facing a felony charge for that now? Because this is outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous. The copyrighted material sometimes just pops up places. It's not like an actual malicious intent to capitalize off other people's work. It's oftentimes just in such a gray area you don't even know what you can and can't do half the time. And then when it comes to streams, sometimes people will donate a song to you that just automatically plays, could be copyrighted, and then you go to jail because someone fucking played a prank on you or something. It is so outlandish that this is even being considered by the fucking ancient fossils in Congress. It is so silly that the people that make these laws are like 98 years old that don't even use the internet and are afraid of email because they're worried that their fucking digital alarm clock's gonna hack them and rewire their brains during their sleep or something. It's just so fucked up. It's the dumbest goddamn law I've seen. It's like if the war on drugs did meth and then came up with this piece of shit to attack an invisible enemy audio wave villain. It's so silly. It is so incredibly silly. So again, hashtag stop DMCA. Hopefully we can do something so it doesn't pass. If it does pass, I don't even know how the fuck they enforce it. Again, I don't know how they'll do that. Because even just playing a video game that you own puts you at risk for a DMCA strike. Like if you take a video on your phone of a cool play you made in a video game, there's a chance to just get DMCA struck for it because there might be a song playing in the background of it. They say the human mind is like a sponge, constantly absorbing new information. Well, I'm about to blow a load of knowledge right into your fucking brain right now. If you're unaware, and you shouldn't be, there's trouble brewing on the game Rust. There's a whole load of drama going on there. It's absolute chaos and pandemonium. Bodies on the street, tears on the keyboard. It is absolutely hectic. And I'm going to go ahead and bring you all up to speed on the lore, why an older game like Rust has all of a sudden exploded. Just take you by the hand and walk you through everything going on right now because it's drama I want to talk about because I've been hard addicted to Rust over the last week or so. It's been hitting me harder than heroin. Like, this shit is pretty wild. I absolutely have been loving Rust. And it's pretty sad to see a lot of the drama that's been going on, so I figured I'd at least talk about it since it's been kind of a big debate. So let's start at the beginning. Rust is an older survival game where anything's possible. You're limited only by your imagination and a million other things, but for the most part, you can do a lot of really cool shit in Rust. Rust initially released as early access 7 years ago and then fully released 2 years ago, and there's been a big community around the game, especially on YouTube, a lot of Rust content creators, and it's not like it was an obscure game. Most people had heard of Rust before, but it recently blew up in popularity, going from like 1,000 or 2,000 viewers a day on Twitch to over 1 million a day on Twitch. And it's all thanks to Abe and Offline TV. Abe being the mastermind, the puppet master, aka the blood god. Abe and Offline TV set up a private server where they invited a bunch of their friends, a bunch of streamers to play on, hang out, roleplay, PvP, and just make fun content in the Rust universe. And it was fucking amazing stuff. I was lucky enough to be invited to the server, got to join Team Rocket and share in that kind of shit. We were like Scooby-Doo villains there, creating great story arcs and great moments, raiding the police station set up by other players. Just really fun shit. But even just the creation of the server wasn't without drama. For some reason, there's like this community of Rust cultists, these Puritans that think there's only one way of playing Rust, which is on public servers, which are notorious for being racist, toxic, and absolutely brutal and no fun to play on. And people just saying like, oh, look at these fucking pussies not even playing real Rust. I still remember the first time I was crying over my keyboard playing Rust. These guys haven't even started the journey into being a real Rust player. And as I've said before, I think there's nothing more sad than these lunch table outcasts that think that their obscure game is only theirs to enjoy and you can only enjoy it in the way that they like to play it. I think that shit is really fucking sad. So you had a whole ton of people melting down about this server even being started in the first place. Like, why are these fake Rust players, you know, trying to play the game this way and hijack our game? they're misleading their viewers into thinking this is what Rust is like. Oh, it's so disgusting. For the first couple days I was on this server, there was a few people in chat just fucking melting down about me not playing Rust the right way, because I was using push to talk to like joke around with friends and roleplay and shit. And not like lame roleplay. I roleplay as a waste management service worker, the king of trash, the trash god. So, like actual cool roleplay. And people were still melting down like, oh, you're supposed to use voice chat for insults and racist slurs. What the fuck are you doing? This is not how Rust is supposed to be played. This is painful to watch. What the fuck is this? Like, it's so pathetic. Even just making the server was controversial. I don't understand this mentality. Now, granted, it's not like the actual Rust pros, like the Rust content creators that shared this mentality. A lot of the Rust content creators are in the server and having a lot of fun. It was just like pretty much exclusive to Rust professional spectators, or people that have like 200 hours in the game, all spent hitting a tree in a public server and dying repeatedly as a naked person on a beach, that think everyone has to have that same experience with Rust. It's just sad shit. They're like Pain from Naruto. They've experienced so much pain that they just want to distribute it to everyone else in their fucking game. Sad. Really garbage shit. But the actual drama started pretty recently, so as the server began to expand and really blow up on Twitch, invites became more frequent and more people were being added to the server. As the floodgates were opening and the legs were spreading wider and wider until the vagina was fully agape, inviting every player that even had an interest in Rust into it, a lot of problems began to arise. Now, that's not to say that the server was without drama before a lot of people came in, because even in the first couple of days there was trivial drama and shouting matches in game where, you know, some people were joking, some people weren't. XQC would get mad, or at least he'd seem mad, and people would get upset at that, and you know, there was definitely some drama, but it didn't really start to blow up until a lot more people came in. And that brings us to today, where Charlie sits semi-chubbed in his chair talking to you about Rust drama. In response to so many people going to the PvP server and so much going on, Abe created a second server more focused on RP, but still mainly PvP. It's 70% PvP, 30% RP. On that server, that's where I have my waste management empire, where I run around collecting trash with a garbage truck. And on the other server is where I live my double life as a Team Rocket assassin. So there's a purpose for both servers, but the second one is much more exclusive and more focused on just making some enjoyable, goofy content. And the first one's that more cutthroat, coming for scalps, blood, sweat, tears, cum, titties, flying all over the place, gore, and hurt feelings everywhere. And in that server is where the drama begins, the genesis of all Rust drama. With a lot of big egos clashing in this Thunderdome, there was bound to be a catastrophic explosion of drama. So what really set it off is a couple of Rust veterans camping in bushes and killing people on site, just mindlessly murdering people in the streets without any attempt to communicate or make fun content out of it. They would just sit in the bush and kill people, hoping to make them mad, which would then be used for their YouTube video views. At least that's the narrative that's been going on. I wasn't in the server during that time. I was busy doing the actual important shit, collecting waste and human fecal matter on the other server. So I didn't see that firsthand. I've only seen the clips in some of the VODs. But these two events, it's like the assassination of Franz Ferdinand. These two events led to a whole fucking war on Twitter, on Twitch, on live stream fails about whether or not these Rust veterans, you know, did anything wrong. Because to the Rust professional viewers, that's just how they've always experienced the game. So to them, there was absolutely nothing wrong with just sitting in a bush for fucking 30 minutes, waiting for someone to ride by on a horse and just shooting them on sight and then looting them. That's normal to them. But to a new player that had no chance of fighting back and who doesn't even have that experience in the game, that's just fucking not fun. Like, that's just absolute dog shit. There's no fun to be had there. So it's been a huge debate, like, why are they getting punished? Why are people mad? It's just Rust. Learn how to play Rust, you pussies. And there's two sides to this argument, but there's a wrong side and a right side. The wrong side is the one that says they did nothing wrong. Like, when you go into the server, it literally just says, please just don't mindlessly kill people. Like, when XQC and Team Rocket would roll into a place, there was a whole storyline built up for it. There was a reason for it. When they made a kill, there was at least jokes exchanged, and by the end of it, most people were laughing. Of course, there were times that they weren't, but for the most part, when there were kills made, it was part of, like, this storyline. Oh, Team Rocket's rolling in, tumbleweeds rolling across the city as people close their doors and lock their kids and wife in the basement to avoid the wrath of Team Rocket. Like, it was goofy, fun shit. They were a cartoonish villain organization. But then, over the last couple days, it's more like, oh, don't ride down that road because a Rust pro might be waiting in a ghillie suit in one of the bushes to just shoot you on sight. Like, that's very different, and that's not fun. Again, the server was made to be more relaxed and focused on fun content in the game with an emphasis on PvPing, because in Rust, it's fun to PvP, and it's more fun when you're PvPing with a purpose as opposed to just going for like a KD ratio in a survival game. A lot of the people in the Rust community that are vehemently defending this have like no level of self-awareness or social skills to recognize that this is just not in the spirit of what the server was for. I mean, even the fucking creator of Rust made this sarcastic tweet poking fun at this mentality. Like, it's just not hard to grasp, but there's a huge difference between PvPing with like a goofy storyline and joking around and just waiting to kill people on sight for their loot. Even on this tweet, there were so many Rust players that were like, finally, Gary's speaking up. Yeah, these pussies just don't get real Rust like we do. And even in the tweet, like, he couldn't have made it more on-the-nose sarcastic. They couldn't even recognize the most basic level of sarcasm there. It's just this inability to read the room from some people to be like, yeah, that's kind of douchey to just kill for their loot on brand new players or constantly murdering naked people, you know? Like, it doesn't take a whole lot to get that concept. Now, that's not for all of the Rust veterans in the PvP server. It's only a handful. Most of them are just super helpful making their own goofy shit. Like, I know, I think it's Ray. He started a hotel on the server. There's other players that started taxi services. So while it is a huge focus on PvP in that server, it's still mainly RP. Like, I visited an 18+ art gallery yesterday on that server. Like, it's still mainly RP with some PvP. So you really can't even use the argument that the server's meant to just be kill on sight PvP all the time, because the majority of it is just a lot of people messing around, role-playing, and having fun. So there's really no way of defending it. Now, in response to all this drama that was blowing up that I was just talking about, 2 players, I believe, were banned from the server, which is where most of this drama just stemmed from, everyone debating whether or not they deserve the ban or shit like that. But I think it's pretty clear, like, they were playing it very differently from everybody else in that server, and in clear violation of the rules Abe set out. Mainly, no mindless killing. So you can argue whether or not a ban was warranted as opposed to just asking them, hey, can you just fucking stop this shit? Like that, you know, maybe you can argue that, but you can't really defend the actions of it. If I was still on that server and I was the victim of that shit, I probably would have just stopped playing, to be honest. That doesn't sound very fun. I saw a couple clips where, like, a girl was just standing out in the open, and then a guy ran in on a horse and just shot her on sight and took her shit. Then she had to respawn on the other side of the map. And that was, like, after, what, like 5 hours of collecting shit? And she was there waiting to, like, talk and joke and just got blasted. Like, that's not fun. I'd probably just throw my arms up in the air and be like, well, I'll switch games. So I do get it. It definitely seems like it was taking some of the fun out. And I just wanted to talk about it because I've been fucking loving Rust, and watching this drama kind of sucks because Abe doesn't deserve to have to deal with all that shit. Abe has done an incredible job with these servers and what he's done with Rust. It has been so fucking fun. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. I'm actually fucking fuming right now. You probably can't tell because trying to read my emotions is like trying to read hieroglyphics, but take my word for it. I'm more upset than Dan Bilzerian finding out about taxes. I'm genuinely fucking livid. Let me explain why I'm so mad. Yesterday, I covered the very disturbing topic of the animal abuse community on YouTube, all kind of fostered because of YouTube's reluctance to ban an account called Pollution Entertainment that was notorious for murdering his cats on camera and making videos torturing them posted onto YouTube. I'd like to add he never got a strike for any of those videos. Those videos were never even removed by YouTube. He deleted them himself. And even though authorities were involved and mainstream media picked it up and the entire platform rallied against Pollution, begging YouTube to take action, to this day, 2 years later, his account is still up. And yesterday I talked about that and the consequence of leaving that account up. And it's that he's inspired an entire community of animal abusers to murder their cats on YouTube and post videos of it. It spawned an entire trend. And it's disturbing, it's sad, it's despicable, it's fucking sickening, and YouTube should lose sleep over it, but they won't because they're still just going to have wet dreams about this algorithm that somehow they believe keeps them safe and is benevolent, doing a great job, even though it is beyond flawed and rarely ever gets anything right. As a little update to the video I made yesterday, one of the accounts I showed, Angela Alvarez, has been terminated, so that's some good news, at least one of them's down. It's absolutely fucking deplorable, and I'm only scratching the surface. There's another massive trend with channels that have hundreds of thousands of subs where they pretend they're rescuing animals from, like, truck tires. There's one big one in particular. A channel will put puppies and dogs under truck tires, run over the dogs a little bit while the dog's screaming. They'll turn on the camera, run over, and rescue it for the sake of their YouTube views. It's fucking disgusting. testing stuff, and it's pretty clear that they put the animals in these positions to rescue them. They'll throw them in snakes and be like, holy shit, get these snakes off. We're trying to save a dog. Look how great this is. Thumbs up. Don't forget. They don't, these channels don't even do a good job of making it seem like they're actually rescuing animals. They'll have a video like, holy shit, this German Shepherd puppy tried to hang itself in my basement. They'll have the fucking dog in a noose and be like, holy shit, get down from there. What are you thinking? Suicide's not the answer. And then take the dog down. The dog's really in fucking rough shape because of this. And then they'll try and make it be some kind of happy, uplifting video, even though it's clear that these people are evil. YouTube has basically become live leak for animals. There's just so much terrible shit in regards to hurting animals on the platform, and I just don't understand why YouTube keeps turning a blind eye to it, it feels like, because they still haven't even addressed the pollution thing. I really just don't get YouTube's priorities. They are so quick to ban a channel like Leafy is here because he made too many Pokimane videos, but they will take their sweet fucking time in actually addressing real crimes like child abuse. And you remember Daddy05, the family that was abusing their children for views and subscribers on YouTube for a long time? Authorities had to fucking like beg YouTube to do something about it before they actually finally acted on it. They just seem to be so reluctant to actually address real crimes and problems like animal abuse and child abuse. It really feels like they just don't give a fuck. At least not about things that matter. So a few days ago, almost a week ago now, one of my videos was taken down called Road Rager Learns a Hard Lesson. It's a fake staged video in a Russian dashcam where a man gets out of his car, bangs on a van's window, and then SpongeBob, Mickey Mouse, the squirrel from Ice Age, and some purple ass-beating elephant cartoon character all get out of the van. It's mascots, and then they get into a little fight and then run away, and that's the end of the video. I was just making jokes about it, and YouTube removed it for violent and graphic content. In what is clearly a staged, viral YouTube video that 5 years ago was huge, there are still dozens, if not hundreds of uploads of the exact same video still on YouTube with no issue, and people talking about it with no issue. For some reason, they have decided to target mine. And okay, it's happened in the past, I understand mistakes happen, so I appealed it. Well, within 2 days, it was rejected. Okay, so I take it up the ladder. As I've mentioned before with my company, Human Media Group, we actually work very closely with YouTube and have had nothing but a positive relationship with them. The partnership division is great. My YouTube partner contact has been absolutely wonderful. The sports and entertainment department at YouTube we work very closely with at Human Media Group has been fucking great. But when I took this to them, this is out of their hands. This is not any of their departments. This goes to some fucking rogue syndicate Illuminati shadow splinter cell division that I guess they just lock in cells or trap in dark cages for decades until they lose touch with humanity and they treat them like zoo animals because this department is so disconnected from the most basic understanding of human concepts. They believed my road rage video was genuine, shocking, disgusting, and overwhelmingly disturbing to the point that it needed to be removed from the platform. Which is fucking weird that they felt that way about a staged road rage video, but don't feel that for videos where their animals are being brutally murdered by baseball bats and blood and guts are flying all over the fucking place, even in the thumbnail. It's weird that they feel that for a fake road rage incident where SpongeBob is throwing a few slaps to a man. It's unbelievable to me. Now, again, I mentioned the great departments we work with at YouTube. In fact, I'd argue the majority of YouTube genuinely does care from behind the scenes. I think a lot of the departments are really on the side of creators and want to make it better. But there is a few groups like this one in particular that just completely ruin it and ruin YouTube's reputation and image as a result of it. Now, all of these departments are really isolated from one another, so everyone I've talked to at YouTube doesn't have like a direct means of communication with this manual review team. They only talk through emails or like pigeon carriers. I really don't even know. They don't have a way of actually having a one-on-one communication conversation or anything except through email. Which right away represents a problem. When everyone's not on the same page or the same team with the same understanding of what is and isn't allowed, that's already a problem. If they're not easily accessible and you can only talk to them through email, that's not good. Everyone I talked to didn't agree with this decision that they've made here. And I'm not even convinced that this manual review team has actual human beings on it. Maybe I've watched too many conspiracy theories, so I got a big old tinfoil condom now. But I really feel like it's some kind of AI, just another algorithm or some kind of fucking neural network looking at these things and making these decisions. Me even go one step further, maybe they're deep faking Keanu Reeves' face on the body of a mannequin at the office to trick people into thinking there's a human being working in this department. I really don't know, because it would take an actual human being only one watch of my video to recognize that the video is fake and it's not intended to be shocking or disgusting. It's just meant for jokes. In the video, none of the punches even connect. All the punches are pulled, all the kicks are pulled. This is actually what it looks like in drama club when you're simulating a fight. The video is a staged stunt, and it takes a human being only one watch of the video to recognize that, even if you don't look into it, which you can, and find that it's fake. It's unbelievable to me that they would not only maintain this decision, but say that this is such an extreme case of shocking and disgusting content that it needed to be removed, and I needed to be punished with a strike on my channel for it. The way they make it sound makes it feel like I'd have a better chance of getting in contact with this team if I wrote my problem on a fucking rock and threw it as hard as I could out my window. Maybe then they'd actually see the problem. Every department I've talked to has no direct means of communication with them, and I'm talking heads of these departments have no way of getting in fucking contact with this fucking group here. You know how alarming that is? They actually shared with me the message they sent in regards to the road rage video they took down. It's 2 lines. It is one line that says, "We are maintaining our decision to keep the video down," and the second line is a copy and paste of the rules regarding shocking content that's taken right off the Google Help page. That's it. There's no conversation. There's no proof that a human being even wrote that email. It is literally looking like an automated reply. That is what they sent to a fucking head of one of these departments who tried to get in contact and fix this issue. That is a problem. In an act of desperation, I did what any sad Boy Scout would do. I tweeted at YouTube. I gave it a whirl to see what that would do. And they responded saying they look into it and thanks for my patience. And you know what? I don't expect the answer to change. In fact, I'm so confident it won't that I've already made this before they give me their final answer. And I imagine by the time I upload this, they will have already said on Twitter publicly that the video violates their policy and that I should review their terms of service or something similar to that effect. I've never done this shit before, but I really think YouTube needs to answer for what is going on with this manual review team. There is so much bullshit and so much that doesn't make sense. Why won't they ban animal abuse like Pollution Entertainment's channel? Why are they allowing that to persist and allow these videos of animal abuse to get hundreds of thousands of subscribers and views across their platform? What is wrong with their manual review department where they view a clearly staged road rage incident as some kind of shocking, disturbing video, despite the fact that there's hundreds of other videos of the exact same incident that don't have a problem? There are so many things that I think YouTube needs to change. So for the first time in my life, I actually do think a hashtag does need to be trending. Maybe they'll listen to that. I don't know if they ever have in the past because I don't really pay attention to Twitter hashtags, but I was hoping if something like hashtag answer us YouTube could get trending, maybe then they'd pay attention, because it seems like the only way to ever even get contact with YouTube for most people is through Twitter by adding them at Team YouTube. So maybe they do pay attention to Twitter, and I would love if they would at least listen. I think I can speak for most people when I say we want some fucking answers from YouTube. Why won't they ban an account like Pollution Entertainment that would adopt cats just to murder them on his YouTube channel? Why is that still up? Why don't they have a problem with animal abuse, but they'll ban other channels for much more innocent content at the drop of a hat? What is going on with the manual review team? Why is every department so isolated from each other where it seems like nobody at YouTube is on the same fucking page? We want some goddamn answers, so I would love to see if hashtag answer us YouTube could do anything. I doubt it. YouTube has become an absolute virtuoso when it comes to ignoring everyone. So I guarantee even if every fucking world leader came together to ask YouTube a question, they'd put their fingers in their fucking ears and just pretend they didn't hear it. But maybe hashtag answer us YouTube could do something good, maybe. But overall, I just wanted to rant. I wanted to vent because this shit is just so frustrating. If you've been on Twitter within the last 12 hours, you've already heard the massive news. Leafy is banned from YouTube. If Jesus Christ resurrected today, that would only be a side story. Second place behind Leafy's termination. The response to the news has been split. There's a lot of people celebrating it as if their favorite football team just won the Super Bowl. And then there's people absolutely in fucking ruins, burning down their local high schools, refusing to eat, hunger strikes. I'm sure someone's gonna set themselves on fire like that monk a long time ago in protest. Shit has been absolutely wild. So let's peel apart these ass cheeks here and really dive in. So, in a nutshell, he was banned for bullying and targeted harassment. I think that's what they got him with. I think that's what they slapped him around with. I'm not entirely sure, but from everything I've read, that's what the charges against him were in the court of YouTube. So first of all, I don't think any content creators should be celebrating Leafy's channel termination. Even if you absolutely hate Leafy, hate everything about him, have wet dreams where he's being sent away to jail for life in an isolation chamber, you still shouldn't be happy that he got banned this way, because to my understanding, he had 0 strikes on his account before it was completely just fucking eradicated from existence. And if it can happen to a 5 million subscriber channel, it can happen to any channel. Happened overnight, like the fucking Tooth Fairy came in out of nowhere and just snatched his soul, his YouTube soul away, and had no priors. That should be scary to anyone that makes content on the internet, I would say. But I do disagree that this sets a precedent. I would argue this precedent got set a year ago, with Gokanaru's video on H3H3 getting taken down for the same reason Leafy just lost his channel: targeted harassment, bullying, threats. And then it happened again with Ian's content cop on Leafy: targeted harassment, bullying, threats, taken down. Neither of those got reinstated. Those stayed down. I would say that's when the precedent was set. YouTube showed that it's kind of Weenie Hut Jr. when it comes to anything it views as a potential targeted harassment campaign or threat against a creator. Now, to be fair, I understand this is a bit of a special case with Leafy in particular, because he made 12 fucking videos milking Pokimane. I don't mean like actually like grabbing on her nipples and like milking her, lactating. I mean, he milked this fucking controversy that he started on Pokimane. He had 12 videos insulting Pokimane in the title, laughing at her in the title, using degrading thumbnails to insult her. And I understand the content of all 12 of those videos wasn't solely focused on Pokimane. They were mainly like financial rants and shit like that. But still, having 12 videos all insulting Pokimane in the title and thumbnail, that's viewed as harassment by YouTube. And to be fair, that's literally textbook harassment. Of his last 15 videos, 12 of them were on Pokimane. Only 3 videos that I can remember, I can't double check, but I think I remember it was only 3 videos in 2 months weren't talking shit on Pokimane in the title and thumbnail. So I think it's pretty obvious why YouTube viewed that as a harassment campaign. But what's surprising to me, and probably everyone else, is the fact that they didn't issue just one strike for this whole ordeal, the whole Pokimane thing. They issued individual strikes for each offense. And even if they only used half of his Pokimane videos, that's still 6 strikes all at once. If they used a third, that's 4 strikes. If they used a fourth, that's 3 strikes. All of them terminate his account. And that's pretty fucking wild. He went so far above and beyond the norm when it comes to milking internet drama that he made it impossible for himself to survive this new harassment policy they implemented. Now, do I think he's going to get his YouTube account back? I really have no idea. It's impossible to know for sure, but one thing I can say for sure is a lot of these commentary channels and just general audience are pretty fucking stupid. There's a lot of people accusing Pokimane and Ethan of getting Leafy's channel taken down. Ethan because he had a recent animation in one of Leafy's videos where Ethan's wife kills herself by jumping off a cliff or something, which again falls into that category of the threats thing that YouTube doesn't like that they got Gokanaru for. But I can tell you right now, Pokimane and Ethan had absolutely no fucking hand in that whatsoever. Now, I'm not their lawyer or anything, I'm not going to be like their Saul Goodman or anything, but I can say with a high level of certainty that there is not a single YouTube creator, not T-Series, not PewDiePie, that can go to YouTube and tell them how to enforce rules on their platform. They don't take any of that seriously. There is nobody that can go to YouTube and say, I want action taken against this and that, and YouTube would listen. That just doesn't happen. And I can say that with confidence because with our company, Human Media Group, we actually have a direct line to YouTube now. And, you know, like my boy George, I've been curious, I've been inquisitive, I've been asking, like, some actual shit that I've wanted to know for a long time to unravel the mystery of YouTube. And one thing I've learned is they don't give a fuck what a creator says to them. They want to stay as hands off of things on their platform as possible. So, if Ethan or Pokimane really did have a problem with all of Leafy's content, they would have to go through proper legal channels through a lawyer to have any action taken on YouTube's part, where it'd have to be an official document, lawyer, from court, everything that tells them it has to be taken down or the channel has to go online. YouTube would not do that on their own because of a legal nightmare. And I totally believe that because YouTube's a pretty soulless corporation. They're not going to really give a fuck who's coming at them, asking them to take down or, you know, be the hall monitor for YouTube drama. They don't give a fuck about that. They want to stay everything as hands-off as possible and as automated as possible. So I'm pretty confident when I say no YouTube content creator has ever had a role to play in a channel being taken down like Leafy's here, unless it was through proper legal means and like a lawsuit, which I don't think happened overnight. You might as well just start accusing the Boogeyman of being the one that took down Leafy, or Slenderman or something. It'd make about as much sense as saying Ethan or Pokimane had that power. Now, just to kind of circle back on why I think content creators are dumb to celebrate Leafy's termination, well, it's because, yeah, while Leafy's was a pretty extreme case where there was so many videos targeting one person, the fact that YouTube took action this quickly without warning is a scary thing to see going forward, because maybe the definition of harassment starts to get a little more vague and a little more blurred, and you don't really know what starts to classify as harassment or targeted threats or bullying or whatever. And that's when it becomes very muddy. There needs to be very clear rules and clear action taken with transparency, so that way you can avoid something like Leafy's ban being possibly the gateway to banning a whole lot of other shit that's a lot more innocent and not as on the nose as, fucking more than 10 videos on something, you know what I mean? Now, do I think his channel needed to be taken down? No, I don't think so. I never support censorship in any of its forms. I think you guys know that about me. I think that's just a super fucking slippery slope. Once you start censoring things, it's stupid to think that it's only going to be used against things you don't like. Everything can be subject to the same treatment, even the innocent shit. It's just a very bad thing going forward. So I don't think his channel needed to be taken down. I'm not a big fan of Leafy's content either. I'm not looking for fucking financial advice or to see the same drama stretched out over 2 months. So I'm not a huge fan of his content, but I don't like to see a channel banned like that. Now, I do understand YouTube has a rule on harassment, and you can argue he broke that rule, so that should have been a strike. But I don't think it should have been a strike for each instance of the potential rule break. It should have been one strike for that entire thing, and maybe give him a warning like, look, this is harassment, don't do it again going forward, hit the brakes a little bit. But that didn't happen. You see, you could extend this harassment here to pretty much every late night TV host. A reoccurring theme in late night hosts is insulting Donald Trump. Couldn't you make that same argument that they target Donald Trump just the same way Leafy did for Pokimane? And they've done a lot more than just 12 segments shitting on him. That could realistically apply to the harassment rule, right? But you wouldn't want to see the late night shit taken down for that reason. You might want to see it taken down because the hosts are really fucking boring these days and the content of the late night shows is terrible, but you wouldn't want to see it taken down because they make a bunch of jokes about somebody. That's just a dangerous thing. That's a very dangerous thing. I just don't understand how content creators of all people can't see why that's dangerous for them as a fucking content creator, because it's so vague you don't know how it's going to be enforced going forward. You don't know where it's going to lead, and I just think it's very silly to celebrate something like that, even if you fucking hate Leafy. So yeah, really, that's just about it. Just wanted to answer all these questions because I've already been getting a ton of them, and I figured might as well just talk about it as soon as possible before I just get flooded by more questions to talk about it. So that's about it. So yeah.